And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Again, hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share with family and friends because the stupidity, the insanity, the chaos, it's not stopping. Meanwhile, Fox News is at it again. Good old Fox News, platforming idiots who spread lies. Yesterday, Lara Trump was on Fox with Laura Ingraham. She claimed that her father-in-law, the president, is the most transparent president in all of history. Play the clip.
Yeah, she must have gotten her hair cut a little too short there or something, Laura. I don't know. It's a new hairstyle for her, too, I noticed. This president, President Donald Trump, is the most transparent, as you just pointed out, president, I think, in American history. He never stops, he never misses an opportunity to stop and talk to the press, to engage with the press, to do multiple interactions and takes every question possible.
Yes, you can take a question, but not answer it. And worse, the things that people, Lara, like you and Laura Ingraham and Jesse Waters and so on, the things that you say, you're not helping the president. All right. Yes, he takes questions, undeniable. There's not a camera that Donald Trump will not stop for to answer a question. Question becomes what he's answering is not always transparent. Sometimes it can't be transparent. The statement that you're making, I know it's to blow smoke up your father-in-law's ass. I get it, so that he keeps you and Eric in the fold. I get it. I was around it. Unfortunately, it's just not true. Meanwhile, Laura also spoke about the Democratic Party and Zoran Mandani. I mean, again, amazing. Play the clip.
At this point, but the only people left are the extremists. As you just point out, we have Mamdani, who is going to be the Democrat representative there in New York and could become the mayor of New York City. This is a guy who wants to defund police, who wants communes and luxury buildings and is openly anti-Semitic. You have the Jasmine Crockett's of the party, and those are the stars. But this is why we have to take the midterm seriously. Laura, I want everyone to hear me loud and clear. We cannot allow people like this to become senators in the United States. Look at the big, beautiful bill, right? That would not have been passed with one less GOP senator there. And we need to make sure that we are coming out in these midterms with as much strength and as much energy as we did in 2024, because that's how important it is. We laugh at it and we think that this is funny because it, quite frankly, is ridiculous. But don't mistake it. The Democrats who are left in their party are so crazy and so radical at this point, and we cannot take anything for granted. I want everyone to make sure that they are already planning to get out to the polls in 2026.
Yeah, there's a new
Yeah, as opposed to, of course, the radical and crazy Republicans on the opposite side. Look, let me be clear. I'm not disagreeing with Lara on a bunch of the things regarding Mamdani. I don't understand the guy. I don't understand how he ended up becoming the Democratic nominee here in New York. Everything that he's saying is just un-New Yorker. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. How he ended up doing it, that's something Democrats should be looking at. But another Fox host then goes on and spoke about Representative Jasmine Crockett, who I don't agree with what Laura was saying. She's far from crazy. But they did turn around and say that she's mentally deficient. I mean, I guess if you speak in a manner which is contradictory to what Trump, the administration, and Lara are saying, I guess it must be seen as deficient. Well, I guess many other people are as well. Play the clip.
So we want people to see the truth, but at the same time, are you building the beast?
Her incompetence is beastly. I mean, she certainly is a mental deficient if you listen to any of her statements, and she is callous. She's also, she's a dum-dum, and you can't take her seriously. She doesn't have solid policy positions, and, she is a recalcitrant piece of garbage. And, unfortunately, we continue to fan the flames of the beast, which is fed by clicks and likes and chatter, and she doesn't care. All she cares about is making her profile more massive, and she's massively incompetent.
Yeah, I'm just going to call her fentanyl whatever forever.
Yeah.
Forever, ever.
And by the way, Jasmine, it's pronounced fentanyl. It's not fentanyl. It's fentanyl.
She does not care.
You're welcome.
Wow. Okay. Unfortunately for Lara and Kennedy, Fox reported that a poll shows that Crockett is actually beating the Texas incumbent for the Senate seat. Play the clip.
A shocking poll shows Texas Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is leading in the race for incumbent Republican John Cornyn's Senate seat. Even bigger news, though, the massive backlash over her making the Texas flood disaster all about her. Well, it's not news, because she does that with everything. Even talking about her hairstyle. That's an odd mix of topics. Plus,
interesting, because my understanding, it was during this flood, it was Christine Noem who was out there making posts on Instagram about what photo her fans, her supporters liked the best. Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture, she too goes to Fox. I mean, that's where you go to spew bullshit. She goes on Fox rambling about how U.S. farm labor is heading toward automation and that there are many able-bodied Americans who are choosing not to work. Play that clip.
H-2A visa program. I know they are working on that to work to effectuate the president's vision. But at the end of the day, moving toward an American workforce based on automation, a lot of able-bodied adults in this country who are not working, we will get there. But this president, his heart is with the farmers. It always has been. And we will work nonstop until we find the right solution, but does not include amnesty and certainly moving toward the American workforce that he envisions.
Secretary, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. Great to be on.
Okay, so, Madam Secretary, let me be the first one to explain to you that automation is not a workforce. All right, it actually takes jobs away from individuals. It reduces the workforce. Now, Laura Ingraham spoke about how people loved COVID. No, you can't make this stuff up. Laura Ingraham spoke about how people loved COVID because they could sit at home and collect checks from the government. Play the clip.
We're happy during COVID. Don't I say this a lot. They love COVID because you can sit at home, you can order DoorDash, the government sends you a check, no one goes to church, but you can go to the liquor store, you can order your pot online, right?
Also,
so the pot, they got pot, porn, no church, no work, and, you know, DoorDash, and then watch Netflix, binge watch Netflix. They love that.
Looting for George Floyd was also
they
part
love
of
the
the
looting
activity sheet.
But I'm
Wow. If there wasn't a more racist, if there wasn't a more ignorant group of people sitting there at that table, I'm not sure either. It is so rude, fundamentally rude to Americans. Americans didn't want to sit at home. Nobody wants to be at home locked up. I was stuck there on home confinement, and I can tell you, nothing made me happier than taking walks in the park. We did it because there was a fucking pandemic. 1 million Americans died, including two of my relatives. Will Cain suggested that President Obama should actually now be investigated for his role in the Russia collusion hoax. I mean, I guess presidential immunity only applies one way in this scenario. By the way, from a personal standpoint, I don't care either way. Would I like the Russia hoax to be investigated? Abso-fucking-lutely. I would like also Christopher Steele to be investigated for his dossier. And who ended up taking that dossier and running it around Washington? Sure, I would like to know. I'm mentioned in that dossier 11 times, more than anybody else. And none of the allegations against me are actually correct. They're all lies. Never been to Prague, never went with 10 million to Prague to pay off compromise for Paul Manafort. I don't own a house next to Vladimir Putin, a dacha, as they call it, in Sochi. None of that is true. So yeah. Now, does it have to be Obama who gets investigated? I don't know. Do we actually know that Obama was even involved? Play the clip.
So let's revisit this. Back in 2020, a bipartisan Senate Intel Committee report did a deep dive into all of this and found this quote. It's from then Secretary John Kerry, as in Secretary of State John Kerry. And he told the committee that he submitted a written memo to President Obama advocating for a national bipartisan commission similar to the Warren Commission to dig deeply into every aspect of the Russian attempt to interfere with the 2016 election. He stated he was disappointed, Kerry was disappointed that the idea was not endorsed and moved forward, and that rather President Obama issued the tasking to the ICA, the intelligence community, that ended up with what we saw here, that incorporated the Steele dossier into the CIA and the FBI's reports, Crossfire Hurricane, on President Trump. So here's the question. Should we not be taking a closer look at President Obama and his role in the Russia collusion hoax?
You mean because he wanted to create, or John Kerry said to him that you should create a bipartisan committee in order to take a look at Russian interference, which every single one of us know is true? Russia has been interfering in not just U.S. elections, but elections around the world for a long, long time. And finally, as ICE raids are ramping up around the United States, Kristi Noem, well, forget about Texas and the flood and the death and now the recovery and the search. Now, she's out there on Fox News, fear-mongering about what the streets were like when Joe Biden let criminals run around. The raids I reported on were farm workers, not drug dealers, as she's trying to claim. Play the clip.
Thank you so much for having me today.
First up, the environment for these ICE agents.
Yeah.
We fear what may be coming next, as we are not seeing the rhetoric tone down.
No, in fact, it's getting worse. Some of these Democrat leaders in some of these communities and states are really, really elevating the emotion out there and lying and putting these officers' lives in jeopardy. So I'm hopeful that people remember that they are just upholding the rule of law and remember what our streets were like under the last administration, how dangerous it was, and that President Trump and these ICE officers are going after murderers and rapists, people who are trafficking our children. In fact, since President Trump has been in office, we've located over 10,000 of these missing children and been able to return them back to their family members and to their loved ones, arrested over 400 different sponsors that were out there perpetuating this kind of activity. So these ICE officers are patriots, and they're going out every day and making our streets safer.
Can I ask you?
Yeah. As I wrote in my Substack that I called Noem Lied, People Died, she's not just failing because the job is hard. It is. She's failing because she didn't do the job. Let me put it plainly. She's simply unqualified. And it's so apparent. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.